Let's look at this bond IFP1 2022, which is 19 years. So it was first issued in 2022 in February, meaning there are about 15 years, 15 or 16 years, they're about remaining for this bond. Now, the maturity date is 2041, and the last coupon that was paid was in August 18th. Then the next coupon is supposed to be 2026. Now, let's look at how yield affects the price of the bond, and also the accrued interest affects the price of the bond. So these are bond calculation I'm doing for a client, but let's just have a look. So this client has 5 million. Let's assume this client has 5 million, and the coupon rate of this bond is 12.9650%. Now, the yield here, we have it. This is an example, assuming the yield is at 15.3%. So at 5 million, let me just do this so that I do 5 million and you guys see, assuming that was the wrong figure. Now let's do the 5 million. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're assuming client is buying bond, this bond worth 5 million. When the yield to maturity is, when the yield to this bond is 15.3% and the coupon is 12.9, meaning whatever this client is getting is lower than what is available, what are the present values, the present interest rates of the market, which is represented by the yield to maturity 15.3. So this client will buy this bond at a discount because what he or she is getting is less than what is in the market. So in this case, let's pay attention to the net amount payable here, which comes to 4.6. So this client will actually just pay 4.6 for a face value of a bond of worth 5 million. So in his or her portfolio, the bond will read 5 million. Even this coupon of 12.96 will be calculated on 5 million, but he will only have to pay 4.6 million at the secondary market, that is, to get this bond worth 5 million. Now let's assume now that is now how the yield is affected. Now let's look at when the yield goes down to say 11%. So let's assume the bond is at 11% yield. So when you look at the yield going to 11%, this means the yield is lower, which represents the current market rates or the prevailing market rates, lower than what the bond is giving. So meaning you're getting a better deal from what the market is giving, or what is available in the market. So this means you will pay a premium for this bond, and in this case it will come to about 5.769. As you can see, the net payable has changed to this. So previously it was at a discount when it was at 15%, but at 11 it's coming to 5.7. So another thing that affects the price of the bond is actually the accrued interest. So let's look at how the accrued interest affects the price of the bond. Accrued interest here means accumulated interest, or the coupon that are supposed to be paid for the person who is owning the bond. So we can see here the accrued interest is 3.8 so far as of this date, and that means the clean price, the real price of this bond is at 111, but then the dirty price, which includes the accrued interest, is up to 115. Now we are not going to change these ones because these ones are with a formula. So what I'm gonna do is just to change the dates, because as days go by, then it means the accrued interest keeps on accumulating. So this one I had done as of 5th December 2025. So let's assume we do it 7 days later, or even just 3 days later, and look at the net payable amount on how it will change. It comes to 5.773. Let's do we add 7 days later and see how much that's gonna be. Comes to 5.779. So it keeps on accumulating as days go by. The accumulated interest adds on to the price of the bond as well. So that is how timing in terms of accrued. Timing helps you to determine the accrued interest, and also the yield to maturity also affects the price of the. So if you're looking to buy a bond from the secondary market, I'm here for you. I have all these bonds available for trade. I'm doing calculations of different prices for different clients. So we go through all these. So on the other end, for my clients, I'll do an Excel sheet to show your cash flows. So if you want a bond from the secondary market, just hit me up. We look at the several bonds that we have and do all the math before we decide what bond can you settle on and what can you buy in.